Hello and welcome back to English Not Permitted, the only channel on YouTube dedicated entirely to foreign language film and TV shows. And in this video today, I'm going to talk about the film Wild Strawberries, a 1957 film directed by Ingmar Bergman. Now this is part of the BBC Top 100 list, and it comes ranked at 89th. The director Ingmar Bergman actually has 5 films on the list. He's one of the most prolific directors on the list, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of his other stuff too. This film is his lowest ranked film on the list, but there's enough in here to get me intrigued to see what some of his quote-unquote better films are all about, and I'm really glad I watched this film. So, without further ado, what the hell is it all about?
The plot of Wild Strawberries revolves around a man named Isak Borg, a 72-year-old doctor, and tells the story of a man who looks back upon his life with a deep sense of regret. When we first meet Isak, we realise that he's become a bitter and lonely widow. This can be seen early on in the film when he argues with his housekeeper, who it appears has become some sort of a surrogate wife to him, and is implied that she is the only person that he has left in his life. A son is mentioned too, however he seems to feel a sense of disappointment or anger towards him. Isak is also seen to be having worry and anxiety dreams about his own death. He feels as though death is closing in on him, and he is all alone. In the first of many dream sequences throughout the film, Isak walks down an empty street of dilapidated houses. He is lost and alone, and he doesn't know where he is. He finds a coffin, and upon opening it, he sees himself, and his corpse grabs hold of his hand and drags him into the grave. Isak has been awarded with an honorary degree from a university in Lund for his years of service in the medical profession. So he must drive across the country, despite this leaving his son stranded at the airport, in order to accept it. Along for the driver is his daughter-in-law Marianne, and they set off together across the country, picking up a number of hitchhikers along the way. One of the hitchhikers that they pick up is a doppelganger for a girl that Isak once loved, Sarah. And this encounter brings back memories of how his brother Sigrid ran off and married Sarah. We see these memories from the old Isak's perspective. He observes scenes that he did not observe in his younger life. So we are never quite sure if these events are real or simply his interpretation of events. As the journey continues, Isak continues to have a series of revelations that allow him to reflect upon his life and the decisions that he made, as well as those he chose not to.
So, as you can see from my plot summary there, this is a pretty serious film, and it was quite an enjoyable watch. It was by no means my favourite film of all time, and I'll probably don't feel the need to watch it again. What I enjoyed more than anything was kind of the technical aspect of how this film was made. I really enjoyed seeing what was obviously a talent director, what he could do with the limited technology available to him in the 1950s. And I think he made use of some interesting stylistic and directorial choices, which I'll talk a bit more about in a minute. My main issue with this film, though, was that it just wasn't quite engaging enough. This is a film about an old man at the end of his life, looking back on his regrets. However, those regrets, to me, aren't really big enough. He kind of focuses on the things he didn't do rather than the things he did do. And at times, I just thought a little bit, so what? There just wasn't quite enough meat there in this for me to really get invested in. And I kind of just wanted to put my arm around old Isak and say, don't worry, mate, it's all fine. Now, at this point, I'm going to talk about some of the technical things that the director does. This is going to delve into some aspects later in the film. Even if you know what it's about going in, I don't think it's going to necessarily spoil the experience for you. But perhaps you want to watch the film itself before coming back and looking at the analysis. So I'll leave that up to you.
One interesting stylistic choice Bergman makes is using the same actress to portray Isak's love interest Sarah, as well as the hitchhiker. This shows how Isak is being forced to remind himself of his sometimes painful memories from his younger life. It is clear that there are parallels between their characters too. The hitchhiker is young and carefree and seemingly having a lot of fun on the road trip across the country. Sarah is seen to be concerned by Isak's coldness and wonders of whether or not she would be better off with a more carefree brother of Isak. The hitchhiker is seen to be having to make a similar decision between two lovers who have both come along for the cross-country tour. One has plans to be a minister, while the other is an atheist. The minister could be interpreted as a stand-in for Isak, as he is the more traditional of the two lovers, and seemingly stuck in the old ways and not changing with the times. The atheist is a stand-in for the brother Siegfried. He is more passionate and carefree, but possibly more manipulative and aggressive as he instigates arguments about the existence of God and the importance of the church, knowing that it will aggravate the minister and make him look a fool, whilst at the same time making himself look more attractive to the girl. Similarly, in the flashback sequences, Isak's brother Siegfried can be seen going behind his brother's back in order to court Sarah. One thing that fascinated me about this film was seeing what a talented director could do with the limited technology of the time. I've already spoken about the first dream sequence of the film, and in my opinion this sequence was all the more eerie with dark and thundering organ soundtrack and black and white picture, and despite the limited special effects, they did a pretty terrifying job of designing the disfigured face. Other interesting choices were the use of stage lighting effect to focus in on Isak. We can see that the other characters are waiting at the car window, but in order to focus in on Isak and his own thoughts, the lights are dimmed and the outside of the car blackens. Gives the viewer a sense of isolation.
Okay, so that's all I've got for today about this video. However, the next film that I'm going to watch on the BBC Top 100 Foreign Films is going to be Agir, Wrath of God. I'm really excited about this film. This was apparently a very, very difficult film to make. It's a German film directed by Werner Herzog and about a trek through the Andes. I've heard it's got a kind of Apocalypse Now type feel to it. The trailer looks exciting. I'm excited to watch it. How about you guys? Watch this film sometime soon too, and in my next video, or at least the next one on the top 100, I'll be reviewing that one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.